The Armies of the Moon by Gwendolyn MacEwen. For Nikos. It was then that I first realized that the war I was fighting was in me, long before it was in the world without. I realized I was fighting in was heißt this? A secondary dimension of reality. Lorenz van der Post, The Seed and the Sower. The Armies of the Moon. Now they begin to gather their forces in the marsh of decay and the sea of crises. Their leaders stand motionless on the rims of the craters, invisible in silver as swords turned sideways, waiting for Earthrise and the coming of man. They have always been there, increasing their numbers, at the foot of dim rills, all around and under the ghostly edges where moon maps surrender and hold out white flags to the night. When the Earthmen came hunting with wagons and golf balls, they were so eager for white rocks and sand that they did not see them, invisible and silver, as swords turned sideways on the edge of the craters. So the leaders assumed they were blind. In the lake of death, there will be a showdown. Men will be powder. They will go down under the swords of the unseen silver armies, becoming one with the gorgeous, anonymous moon. None of us will know what caused the crisis, as the lunar soldiers reluctantly disband and return to their homes in the lake of dreams, weeping quicksilver tears for the blindness of man. The Hunt. My cat goes behind the shadows, into the majestic dark of shoes, or cryptic corners where the spirits hide. For me too, this house is not a mere conspiracy of walls, but a jungle of eyes, the lost worlds of the Kalahari, King Solomon's mines. I know exactly what he's hunting down, day after day, in the dark places. Dream creatures with fluorescent eyes, which shine like jewels in the caves of his awakening. On the television screen, two ghostly blobs of men dissolve on the rim of a lunar crater. And I know exactly what they're hunting down, hour after hour, in the seas without water. Now the astronauts are journeying over the rim of my sleep, and this red-eyed cat dissolves in air. If you are looking for me now, my hunter, you will not find me here. I have mislaid something. I have mislaid something very important. Worse still, I can't remember what it is. I don't think it's a thing, or a wish, or a taste, or a poem. But it might be a dark street in London where a cousin I never met, who spoke with the tongues of angels, died. He fell away from our blood like a word, and few understood the things he said. I have mislaid something very important, and possibly very large, like a castle in the Highlands where the ghosts of my ancestors wait with bagpipes and with horns. I have mislaid many places in this house without history. There are so many places for places to hide. Meditations of a Seamstress. When it's all too much to handle, and the green seams of the world start fraying, I drink white wine, and sew like it was going out of style. Curtains become dresses, dresses become pillow covers, clothes I've worn forever get taken in or out. Now, I can't explain exactly what comes over me, but when the phone rings, I tell people I'm indisposed. I refuse to answer the door. I even neglect my mail. Something vital is at stake, the lost stitch or the ultimate armhole. I don't know what. And hour after hour, on the venerable singer, I make strong, strong seams for my dresses and my world. The wine possesses me, and I sew like a fiend, forgetting to use the right colors of thread, unable to make a single straight line. I know somehow I'm fighting time. And if it's not all done by nightfall, everything will come apart again. Continental shelves will slowly drift into the sea, and earthquakes will tear wide open the worn-out patches of Asia. Dusk, a dark needle stabs the city, and I get visions of chasing fiery spools of thread mile after mile over highways and fields until I inhabit some place at the hem of the world where all the long blue draperies of skies and rivers wind. Spiders' webs describe the circling of their frail thoughts forever. Everything fits at last, and someone has lined the thin fabric of this life I wear with grass. Meditations of a Seamstress. I dream impossible clothes which will confess me, and fall apart, miraculous as the Red Sea, to reveal to you the stunning contours of my mind. You, who wear the world with a grace I will never achieve, invisibly, like the arcane garment of the Emperor. I dream things not to be worn in this city. Yards of silks, which, like Isidora's scarf, may one day choke me. Blue tunics held together by buckles bearing the portraits of lost kings. Vests carved from the skin of frightened deer. Green velvet cloaks in which I may soundlessly collapse and succumb to the forest, sleeves to stress the arm of the archer, the huntress Artemis. Only one dress I made ever came out right. It will never happen that way again. All the way down the front of it, where it opens from the collar to the hem, I sewed the signs of Athens, a row of obsolete but perfect keys on a strip of black and gold, which you may, O naked emperor, enter and decode my world. Sea things. I've been giving a lot of thought to shellfish and sponges and those half plant, half animal things that go flump, flump on the sea floor. Also, a funny thing shaped like a pyramid, which spends all its life buried in the sand upside down and has no friends. And because I know nothing about the sea, I worry about how they're finding their food or making love, or, for that matter, if they have anything to make love with. I open a can of oysters and see them all lying there naked and embryonic, and wonder how long I can go on worrying about things that creep around miles below my eye, beneath tons of black water, with their hopes and fears and hungers, and their attempts to better themselves, and their secret brains or pearls they keep protected in their shells. I've been giving them a lot of thought, but I do not really want to know them, for they flung me forth, a nuisance in their midst, with my mind and complex hungers, crashing on the high, white beaches of the world. Dining at the Severin. Because I too have come to partake of this awesome buffet, determined to get my money's worth by going back again and again to refill my plate, even when I no longer hunger. I cannot wonder why the man at the next table eats so much. What secret doubt he soothes with the impossible pyramid of food before his eyes. Because I cannot presume to know his pain, yet know it so well it is my own. I eat in shame. Yet I'm amazed with what venom I crack open the corpse of this white crab. The sound like a bark of protest from some pre-human world, and how loudly I suck the sweet meat from the hollow of its claw, casting furtive glances at the others who dine in this enormous room, choking down such terrible love and pity as I cannot presume to recapture here. And because I cannot know their hunger, yet know it so well, it is my own. I revisit the bright buffet in a kind of dream, and pile my tired plate with primeval things, smoked oysters, scarlet lobsters, shining shrimps, telling myself that seafood is very good for the brain, and creep back again to the table, that wreck of my former hunger, to devour the guts and claws of creatures which preceded me and still survive. As the organist plays those old songs we all know so well, we have forgotten them. And I pray to the God of men and lobsters, and all things that die and do not die, forgive me this second hunger, this unreal hunger, Lord of the infinite buffet. Memoirs of a Mad Cook. There's no point kidding myself any longer. I just can't get the knack of it. I suspect there's a secret society which meets in dark cafeterias to pass on the art from one member to another. Besides, it's so personal. Preparing food for someone's insides. What can I possibly know about someone's insides? How can I presume to invade your blood? I'll try. God knows I'll try. But if anyone watches me, I'll scream. Because maybe I'm handling a tomato wrong. How can I know if I'm handling a tomato wrong? Something is eating away at me with splendid teeth. Wistfully, I stand in my difficult kitchen and imagine the fantastic salads and souffles that will never be. Everyone seems to grow thin with me, and their eyes grow black as hunters' eyes, and search my face for sustenance. All my friends are dying of hunger. There is some basic dish I cannot offer. And you, my love, are almost as lean as the splendid wolf I must keep always at my door. Lilith, have no doubt that one day she will be reborn, horrendous, with coiling horns, pubis a blaze of black stars, and armpits a swampy nest for dinosaurs. But meanwhile, she lurks in her most impenetrable disguise as me, trying to make holes in my brain or come forth from my eyes. And I have felt her mindless mind within my mind, urging me to call down heaven with a word, avenge some ancient wrong against her kind, or be the crazed Salome who danced for blood. Oh, God. Her seasons kill the sickly moon, and all my fine achievements fall beneath her feet like skulls. And I would claim I cannot answer for my deeds. It is her time. But when I try to prove she is assailing me, there comes instead an awful cry, which is her protest and her song of victory. See you in my dreams, whore of Babylon, Theodora, utterly unquiet, fiend, thou scream. The holy burlesque. The very gay katechnos, which is to say performer, in the Greek nightclub, has the last laugh. Though we're in fits, when he does a little belly dance across the stage, crying whoopa and ea in the best tradition. The thing is, he twirls and grinds rather well, better in fact than the large mammalian thing who keeps falling over backwards into her seventh orange veil, which is one of the reasons why the last laugh is Loki's. He keeps laying bare the grotesque gesture of a rival trade. The girls with pointed shoes and orange brains who parade their little lives upon the stage with far less polish than he attains. Nobody gets right into Lackey's eyes. Where some primeval knowledge lingers, old hermaphroditic dreams, and oh so lovely sins, of Sodom and Athens and East Toronto. None of us can reasonably deny, which is to say, one laughs at Lackey as he struts and swivels and sometimes kisses the handsome men who grace the tables near the stage. If we didn't laugh for heaven's sake, if there was 1 minute of silence in the Greek nightclub down the street, Lackey's laugh would sound so shrill and pure we'd fall over backwards into our Retzinas or our seventh orange beer and rise and repossess the stage we occupied before 2,000 years. Our lies in a blaze of orange veils would vanish, and the very gods might reappear. The vacuum cleaner dream. I dreamt I was vacuuming the universe, and everything got sucked into my blind machine. Whirr, whirr, whirr. I was an avenging angel, and the best cleaning woman in the world. I dreamt I was vacuuming with a sickening efficiency, and everything went into the head of the extragalactic vacuum beast, expertly tamed by me. Avenging angel, and the best cleaning woman in the world. And when I opened the bag to empty it, I found a dictionary of dead tongues, a bottle of wine, lunar dust, the rings of Saturn, and the sleeping body of my love. Flight 1. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. We are flying at an unknown altitude and an incalculable speed. The temperature outside is beyond words. If you look out your windows, you will see many ruined cities and enduring seas. But if you wish to sleep, please close the blinds. My navigator has been ill for many years, and we are on an automatic pilot. Regrettably, I cannot foresee our ultimate destination. Have a pleasant trip. You may smoke, you may drink, you may dance, you may die. We may even land, eventually. A lecture to the Flat Earth Society, with apologies to A.N. As president of this worthy organization, and having been entrusted with the task of saving the poor souls who dwell too near to the edge of the earth from falling into the primal dark beyond, I would like to say this. My God, I've lived all my life right here, on the rim, the brink, the final boundary of fear, with the long, flat continents of dreams behind me, and nothing ahead but the sweet and terrible night I long to fall into, but do not dare. What I can tell you, you who inhabit with me the very edge of the abyss, we have no bathysphere to explore the depths, no means whereby we can collect the abysmal eggs of those creatures of the chasm who dwell in the darkness below our heads. As president of this worthy organization, I want to point out without arousing any fear that we are doomed on this disk, which spins its insane dreams through space, and those of us who always lived too near to the edge to begin with have the consolation of each other's company. The certain knowledge that the night is also beautiful. The abundant night, which spews out constantly before us as the rays of a half-forgotten sun strike us from behind on our delicate and unwinged heels. When I think about it, I know with clear and terrible logic that I have taken my life in my hands every day for almost 30 years. What with drunken drivers, slippery streets, lightning bolts, subway trains, elevators, airplanes, manholes, fences that can electrocute you in a minute, falling wires, high winds, floods, fires, and when I think about it, my death and yours is everywhere. I wonder if I'm alive by some sheer fluke, or if the amazing thing is not that accidents happen, but that sometimes they don't, in view of the million possibilities. And when I think about it, everything becomes impossible. Getting across the street is a major challenge. I take nothing to granted, knowing I have earned this minute by a series of incredible stunts and maneuvers which, when I think about them, require more time and energy than there's anything left in me for anything else. And when I think about it, I am an animal fighting against desperate odds for sheer survival. It starts to show in my eyes. And when others are bored because nothing is happening, I'm on my knees, thanking God that nothing is happening. Thanking God that nothing is happening, that the mad cab driver didn't smear us all over the street, that the plane, for some incredible reason, stayed up and kept on flying. And when I think about it, I don't know how I came this far, or how much farther this wild luck will prevail, or how I made it up to now, alive, to tell the tale. Phobos. Last week, lightning clove the mighty tree outside my house, and the leaves turned in, surrendering their white sides. I learned that lightning cleaves what it most loves and cuts in half what it means to caress. Nothing is safe. Nothing is safe anymore. And the stronger I become, the more I fear. I will invite the deadly kiss of wind or water, air or fire, which will slay me, lay me out like the corpse under a yellow plastic I saw once off the highway in a ditch. Nothing is safe. Nothing is safe anymore. And I am sure the silver jet which crashed last week at dawn, leaving parts of bodies on the ground, was a thing the earth found lovely and called down, merely called down to embrace. I'm terrified of cars and planes and weather and fear itself, which only makes me stronger as I walk like a broken child through scared streets, through the wicked rubble of unspeakable nights. It will come to us when we are strong, because it loves us. It will mow us down. I turn in now, surrendering my white side to the horror which will one day claim me, nor would I be at all surprised to wake up tomorrow and espy the loaf of bread upon my table sliced by the swords of the samurai. Note from a figure at Pompeii. The world ends here, but it has ended every moment of my life. I tell you not to fear agony. Is this cataclysm only the jealous kiss of God? This question I put to the impervious stones. There have been warnings, but no one has heeded them. Here, as I feel the seasons bend, I do violence to myself. Perhaps I want to be ready on my knees when the fire comes. If I continue to visualize this end, I will surely bring it about. I will believe in mind over matter, as matter consumes me. You will know me when you find me. Eileen. I am the figure at the left of the boulder, half raised on my hands, a petrified awakening. Myself turned to stone. As I achieve this bitter victory, too late, as all victories are, this conquest of my reluctant self, this final freedom from my fear. Two aspects of the moon. Nor could I sometimes dare to write. The moon was a cup from which we drank the silver milk of night. For in this hour, before the dawn, ghosts of many martyrs moan. Dark rain of war keeps falling, and our mouths are drowned. I see your bright arm, burning like a torch in some abandoned countryside. I witness the apocalypse of love, and understand how many died and went up in flames with an unrecordable cry. Now I know why my mouth tears down your body in a mad attempt to staunch the blood they shed. I keep seeing bullets beneath your skin, which I try to suck away. Instead, I make myself new wounds, worse ones. There where I thought a Roman lance tore you, just below the heart. There I have left my mouth's cruel mark. Let this be for those who died, to give us this ambiguous hour. Let us earn ourselves and bring them back to earth. If love means a murder and a birth, let this be a sign, for we may one day lie somewhere alone and slain. This is nothing if not a prayer. And now in the hour before the dawn, I swear, we recall those other arms which embraced fire, and which in turn will make our flesh to char. For if we can't love them, in loving each other we are unworthy of this hour, and of all dawns forever, and have no right to bear this proud red scarring of love we have made. Nor could I sometimes dare to write, the moon was a deadly scimitar beside your hair, and I woke with blood on my shoulder from its sharp blade. The child dancing. There's no way I'm going to write about the child dancing in the Warsaw Ghetto in his body of rags. There were only 2 corpses on the pavement that day, and the child I will not write about had a face as pale and trusting as the moon. So did the boy with a green belly full of dirt, lying by the roadside in a novel of Kazantikas, and a small girl T.E. Lawrence wrote about, who they found after the Turkish massacre, with one shoulder chopped off, crying, "Don't hurt me, Baba." I don't feel like slandering them with poetry. The child who danced in the Warsaw Ghetto to some music no one else could hear had moon eyes. No green ore and no fear, but something worse. A simple desire to please the people who stayed to watch him shuffle back and forth, his feet wrapped in the newspapers of another ordinary day. The other underground. Who will absolve me of the crimes which I commit each night in dreams? Not you, my dark associates, who shade your eyes with many flags, and who do not see these nests of lightning in the trees. I am so far underground you cannot find me. I fight with strange and silver armies. All ideologies enrage me. I have no plots against the system, having taken many years to overthrow myself. You have not noticed all those wars that are happening inside my head. You have not asked me to get out of Vietnam, the conflagration which is the Asia of my mind, where I commit alone the atrocities of my time. Tell me what the dark committees of my soul are plotting, and where the guerrillas of my guilt are hiding out. For I remember that the cockpit of the plane was silent in Hiroshima, as silent as my skull. Oh, silent was my skull before eyes bled from heads, dripped out or melted inward, before the man sitting in the sun somewhere dissolved and left the black atomic shadow of his soul upon the stairs. It's too late to argue about who has seen the light. Nobody has a monopoly on light. I cannot dazzle you with data or compare tyrants and liberators who eventually become tyrants. I cannot discuss politics, only your dreams and my bloody hands. The midnights lit by war-light, scarlet stars, the sheer hallucination of our wars, have somehow grown from small hurts, symbolic murders, and the tyranny is with us every day. In our small, cruel lies, in our turning away from love. The enemy is where he always was, in the bleak lunar landscapes of our mirrors. I'm so far underground you cannot find me, hating the untellable which must get told, trying to read the monthly Morse code of the moon. These urgent letters to the world. A dance at the mental hospital. The imponderable agony of being here. Not just in the dusty auditorium smelling of drugs and lemonade, but in the world, alive and conscious and alone, is what makes the dance so strange. We are aware someone has put us here. No one was really invited. The steps will knit together some wide wound that life has made, some wear the furious, defiant face of a baby, first forced to breathe. Others from Behind the slow, glazed smiles try valiantly to please. Still others stare and cast wild eyes upon this gathering. I think of the tale about the madman who believed all the horrors of the world were committed to a single rose in the hospital garden, and who struggled night after night to get out and destroy the rose, and finally did, with his hands bloody from the bars. He was good and mad as Christ, and held the evil rose against his chest until he and it both died at dawn. The imponderable agony of being here, of having to have a shape, a foot, an ugly face, a mind, a fit upon the floor, when the soul breaks out of the screeching teeth and every nerve and muscle is screaming for release. But now they are dancing. Ah, slow as a nightmare. Dances in the night across the stale beds, beneath impossible stars. Will there be secret trysts tonight upon the sour stairs? I, too, must clutch the world's most beautiful and evil rose against my chest and stare and cast wild eyes upon this gathering. Waiting. We stood in a trance at the gates of the city, knocking once, knocking twice. We were told that you'd be here, concealed behind the gates and walls. But the night crept on, dense as a forest, and there we were, out in the open, exhausted, still knocking again and again. Ah, if only those gates would open. Soldiers came and tore us apart and stung our backs with whips, but we stayed on, because maybe you would loom up from behind the gates and walls. There was no place, no corner, where we did not crave your exalted name, Father. But when we gazed at the walls, your name had changed. So we fought and shouted, while the soldiers laughed. We were deaf to everything, even our own voices. We were blind to everything, even our own faces. Woe unto us, poor innocent fools. We stand at the gates of your abandoned city and knock forever. Will you come in a basket, big with apples from Damascus, and give our starving children a bit of grain, a cup of milk? Our orchards were reaped by others. We, the powerless and simple, planted oranges and lemons which we never squeezed or ate. The others came in a boat and raped our crops and plundered our fruit, and when we couldn't defy the thieves, we beat our heads against the walls and made our faces bleed. We thought that somehow you'd appear. You'd roll out of a basket or emerge from a hearth, but you never came. Day and night our windows were open. Winter came, then spring, summer came, and autumn, but you never came. We are not a chosen people, but simple, miserable fools. Woe unto us all. We are still here. Perhaps you will come out from behind these walls. It comes upon you. It comes upon you suddenly that this is its moment. This is what it's all been for. The secret that you held in store like a juggler always allowing for the ball that is not there. It comes upon you suddenly that to sit here with cold coffee and the day's penultimate cigarette is the sum total of all the painful becoming and the hell. If you can't see it now, you will never will. It comes upon you suddenly that you must wear the many selves you gathered and regrew with a kind of pride and poise that falsifies their weight with cool, deceptive ease. Or else you will cry forever, as once before you cried on a high hill overlooking everything. God, withdraw my fingers from your hair and break my eye. The 66th Sonnet. Your face in dream becomes the dawn, and down to the dark breath of your sleep, I, vampire, lean to breathe you like a vapor that gives me life again. And of your flesh I eat, your blood, your brain. Love in your hot throat, my aching head is lost. Oh, kill me, or complete me, or take at least this stark corpse in your claws, this beast, and love him, for your God knows his needs best. But I think I have killed you. Or have you killed me? Crushed and torn, the last of my fears apart, so I might waken dead each day on your dark breath, with 7 blades of blissful sin stuck fast in me, with the swords of all sweet joys and evils in my heart, and blood on my mouth, for my kiss as red as death. The film, I think I must have been with you in all the movie houses of the world, or else you perform in the dark theaters of my blood parts you never meant to play. Did you watch too long those universal spectacles of wars where nobody ever dies, of monstrous lovers who kiss forever down the corridors of time? The fervent curtains fall apart, and the silver screen is skin. I think the walls of the place you live in whisper names and legends and night, and wispy film unwinds in some unseen projector run by a cruel technician who merely wants to drive you blind and send his cast of thousands clinging through your sleep I think that when you raise your hand against those walls, your flesh becomes a screen. The drama unfolds along your fingers and across your open palm. The armies run, and down your veins their false blood falls. I want to tell you, look, this is the kind of war nobody needs. The kind of war nobody needs. Listen. But now, these images have claimed your face. You are alive with lies and legends, and the silver reel unravels in your skull. The dark film roars forever down your blood. Letters of water. Everything I thought to tell you has become as worthless as an old forgotten tongue. I open my mouth, and my mouth is a gulf where dying eagles screech and fall. Our best and noblest desires resolve themselves in broken songs of blood and fire. The lost sounds of our love have silenced and reformed my tongue, and now a silver alphabet is floating past my eyes unreadably, for all the secret things that we used to breathe are some strange language no more known to me. The letters turned to water, like the sea. Everything I thought to tell you has become a fluid silence flowing into time. Lost sounds of our love, the codes of stars, are languages no more known to me. The letters turn to water like the sea. A letter to Karos, Lord of the Midnight River. Tell me, will my silver hands, like fish, slip away from my lover's flesh? And will it surely come to this, the final tunnel and the liquid kiss? Did I throw my life away like so much money thrown at the feet of singers? Did I throw my life at the feet of singers like a coin tossed into a midnight fountain? Was it all a magic act of sun and water? Was there something else I should have done instead, into whose future I am moving? My thighs, all silver with his seed, are sleek for swimming. I see the aqueducts of death ahead. The birth of the king. However she bears him full grown, knowing nothing of his wars, his fears. She must give him over. It is not birth, but the surrender of the world to time. The sea offers up its histories at the feet of swimmers, gives over Armas in the green money of Rome. She is the terrible powerlessness behind the throne, who stares at the head of the man which broke from her groin, full grown, and heavy as a helmet or a crown. For she will never know the wars she bears. It is all the labor of world love to make time. The telescope turned inward. The telescope turned inward to the corner of the room is slowly falling into inner space alone. The lens, like your dead eye, which fell away from stars, turns in to the vivid zero of your dreams, the place where nightmares burst like bladders or nova suns. Goodbye, goodbye. The planets have resigned and left me all alone. You have collapsed to a microcosm where your brilliant secrets no more masquerade as stars. There are no more galaxies. There is no more moon above me. The vast necropolis of space below, a telescope turned inward, and silver dust I must sweep up tomorrow in the corner of the moon. The golden hunger. First, the savage flower of the mind opens, catches flies and tigers, and locks them in. My vowels burst like the lungs of divers gone beyond their depths. How to address you, who have 100 times renamed me. The moon is yellow and terrifyingly full. They were there just a week ago, walking, and the pale skyscrapers are altars I have erected for the night. After the dark fell, you came again to rename me. Composite God. Behind your fluid masks, there is always something that remains the same. Fluid masks. Not a feature, but a cast to which the face always returns. I watch your expressions change. I wait until they resolve themselves into the face I remember. Through the eyes of all, I know one mind looks out like a dark, captured animal, seeing only what it wants to see. There's pain in the miracle amid reality. Another mouth is drawn above your mouth, my teacher, and 2 other eyes above your own. Who would believe this ghost in this permanent guest of my blood? I dreamed I found a priceless Stradivarius in my mailbox. What impossible concertos am I expected to play? The clouds have dissolved, and the visited moon above me is an eye which watches as I bow. House of Mercury. These days, all those who come to me should wear the blue of metal, or the quicksilver of the sea which glints its mineral histories. Steel blades from unknown wars, scales like flint on the unknown fish, great desolate wrecks of ships which set sail for the depths, the thin grey clang of bells calling someone somewhere, tin rivers of Aquarius, Things that speak of forests I have long since lost disturb me. Eyes the color of dry moss, leave me be. I want to be water. I'm trying to flow through. I'm dense and silver. I'm trying to move a ton of metal as easily as the sea. Jewelry. I wear it more to be its captive than to captivate. I want to be the prisoner of gold, to hear my voice break through the chain which holds my song in check, or watch the tendons flicker under the band about my waist which makes my gestures conscious and restrained. The circular earrings, familiar as my name, have tamed my mind as the single ring has tamed my hand. You have made a glittering prison of all my jewelry, Christian. You knew I never wanted to be free. The sign. When you have finally made me, do is no trace with my foot in the frightened dirt, the sacred fish, the Christian calling card, the sign of the society, that all may know I am one to go down to the sacred feasts beneath the aqueducts of Rome. You think that this is my surrender to some quieter form of love, and that this thin and spineless fish swims only in rock or dust. But what I am learning is the lust of God, the seas which boil in the bones, and when next time I get to you, the teeth of my kiss will trace in your flesh the holy symbol of the catacombs. McGill Park, summer. When the green shadows gasp, collapse to gold, in the long arc of late afternoon, the athletes are kicking a ball someone tossed from Sparta. I think I have always been here, in a moment of perpetual surrender, watching the dust clouds claim their heels, and waiting for some final sign to be revealed. Nearby, 3 silent statues submit the spraying arcs of foam, and I am lost among their perfect arms and heads. Now with a small red bucket, a child goes to catch some water from the wellspring of the gods. A dream. Below my naked foot, I find a submerged statue's outstretched hand in water, only ankle deep, where sullen gods float by beside a fallen house of which 3 pillars stand. I don't know why you follow me, to stumble over marble elbows, shallow hands. Below me now the white gods die in this field of broken water where we stand. Hypnos. He lies there in a wilderness of sheets, and his body inhabits strange spaces, oblique dimensions like the keen emptiness of a child's eye. It offers me no entry and no alibi. Horses, I think, charge into the white night of his sleep. He celebrates the birthdays of his dreams and does not know. I ponder how I might join him there. Yet I fear to even do so, even if I could. For in his sleep he is powerful as a withheld word. He lies there, accompanied and unknown, his limbs arranged by passion and art. Fluid beauty inhabits all alone. The dark bird of war is dormant in his loins, and prophets reside in the seeds of his kiss. The generations of his mouth are legion, yet his body is inviolably this. He may lie, he may live there forever, and I can say nothing of the meaning of this sleeper. The real name of the sea. Everything would have been different had I known it before. I would have had no fear of tunnels, thunder, wind and water, also time, which brought me always to the brink of being, and taught me how to love and die. Sheer lightning found me cowering hot and cold upon the floor. There were some kinds of light I couldn't bear. Even the candles lit for all the birthrights of my life were a blaze of boats in an ocean funeral. I insisted that my terrifying cosmos was not so different from your own. Promised you that it contained all you had ever seen or done, for I had seen all things converge to one. I asked you to hold the gold shell of the burning sea to your ear and hear the drowning children call for their Viking fathers, and world breakers breaking on the awful shores of love forever. Everything would have been different had I known it before. Thalassa, whisper with me, Thalassa. These last of the world's children beg pardon at your shore. Credo. I believe it all, because no one can tell me that the dancer in my blood is dead. Also, my fingerprints are the landscapes of 10 unknown moons. Also, I ask you, what could be stupider than a world without a world, believing everything? I do not expect you to believe an untenable myth, or this incredible lie which is slowly turning you into truth. The hour of the singer. Your life falls away from the mouth of the singer, and you are left with one song you must sing forever. All you have aspired to, you have already done or seen in the eyes of the indestructible one. This is the hour when it all falls away, and you are lost in the blind mouth of the singer, and everything you ever wanted is contained in the naked pause between his words. Through his red music he smiles to warn you you have always moved among the gods. All you have sought, you have already found. And now it falls away beyond the sounding hours of the blood and the years of false singing. What you have been is a tale beyond telling. And all that has fallen away from his mouth and your life is yours forever, without ending. Now you comprehend your first and final lover in the dark, receding planets of his eyes, and this is the hour when you know, moreover, that this God you have loved always will descend and lie with you in paradise. When you come upon him, at the edge of the water, child of Allah, with wheels of light and all the bright leaves of the world flying around him, tell him that I served him well. The handsome two-horned one who waits at the river of the world's end. Tell him I bore the seed which was his dream. Tell him I made havoc in his name. Whenever the faceless winds were calling the seed of the future from the world, I, with a mere breath, would call the liquid millions from his loins to inhabit me briefly before they fell. For the four winds made murder in my head, and the pebbles in the water were a million eyes. I was possessed and cold. I cried. Oh, shed the secret generations from your loins. These your ghostly children, Lord, shall lead me by the hair to the limits of the world. Written after coming out of a deep sleep. How did I see the people of my dream when my eyes were closed? You saw them with the eyes of your mind. And now that I am awake, do I see with my own eyes? No. You are the eyes of my mind, and you are here to help me see my dream. Arcanum 1, the Prince. And in the morning the king loved you most, and wrote your name with a sun and a beetle and a crooked ankh. And in the morning you wore gold mainly, and the king adorned you with many more names beside fountains. Both of you, slender as women, circled and walked together, like sun rays circling water. Both of you, slender as women. wrote your names with beetles and with suns, and spoke together in the golden mornings. And the king entered your body into the bracelet of his name, and you became a living syllable in his golden script, and your body escaped from me like fountain water all the day long. But in the evening you wrote my name with a beetle and a moon, and lay upon me like a long broken necklace which had fallen from my throat. And the king loved you most in the morning, and his glamorous love lay lengthwise along us all the evening. My brother, you board the narrow boat, and the river owns you over and over. Why do you sail like this between your sister and the distant king? My chamber is full of politics and hunger. Why do you go to him? His chin is thin, and his thighs bulge. Why do you go to the king, your father? Your boat, your narrow boat, goes forth each morning, and snouts of crocodiles worry the water. Why do you go each morning after our bodies make narrow rivers together? I know how you plot against the king, your father, whose thighs flung you forth as from a salty river. You will steal the crown which bulges from his head, and mourn the thin throne which no one holds forever. Do not go to the king, our father, but stay in this house beside the worried river. There are 1,000 kingdoms yet to conquer in the narrow nights when we lie together, and the distant king on his thin, hungry throne can neither live nor lie nor sing forever. Arcanum 3. The Death of the Prince. He was employed upon the marble floor, between the fountain and the pillars. They looked for him. The silvery guards sought him all day long, and my brother did not hear them calling through the halls. And finding him employed upon the marble floor, they fell before him, crying, Majesty, Lord! His mouth was terrible, and his cheek a granite cliff, and he lifted up his head and smiled. He was destroyed upon the marble floor, between the fountain and the pillars, and I bent over him to call his name, his secret name whose syllables were thunder. Then I took the heavy crown and threw it in the river. Arcanum 4. The Embalming. Along your body strips of gold unroll your name, which caused a kingdom's fall. And you wrapped ribs, my silent one, refused the sun, and down your legs run legends of the night. In white cloth I wound you in your final house beside the water, and I know the gates are locked forever. The gates of light are locked forever. As my loins lock as the river, in white cloth bound and blind, you breathe in death the winds of night, as the sweet stiff corpse of your petrified sex points upward into heaven, in your tomb beside the river. Through the gates of light, they are locked forever. The legs and lips of light are locked forever. My fingers twice have traced your name all down your flesh, and they have dipped its signs in water. Now sleep, my blind, my silent brother, as my womb locks as the river. Your tomb a virgin by jackals sealed, and the gates of light are locked forever. Arcanum 5, the prayer. Death is a snake on your smashed brow, but I still beg you to get up and go beyond the drowning river where your crown lies, towards the sighing houses of reeds where I stand waiting in the hollow doorway of eternity. Oh, brother, from your tomb arise, your bones are targets in a hunter's eyes, your soul the naked arrow which he fires. In the name of our Father, by the ring he wore, come, touch this floor with feet that burned 1,000 times the grass between the river and this fervent house. As bird arise, as arrow, and tomorrow let the strips of linen fall. All your limbs are tombs of sorrow. I beg you now, my silent brother, to crash those gates, which are not locked forever. Oh, bless and break them 10 times over. Arcanum 6, the centuries. I waited 2 millennia in the house beside the river, calling to the north wind many times over, and feeding doves, and laying fruit beside your tomb, which thieves and beggars stole by night in summer, and burning prayers and perfume on the hungry altar elsewhere slept our mad, forgotten father, and the land fell into wretchedness. And later, water snakes and foreign boats profaned the river. And sometimes you visited as bird the thirsty bed where we had lain, and hovered above, and said, I will come back in better forms than this, my sister, but the gates are hard to break, so hard to break you cannot know. And death is like the long sleep after love, when nothing can persuade the limbs to move. You tired wings were songs among the leaves, and on my thighs you left your shining, unreal seed. And other centuries I do not try to count. With doves and thieves and moons appeared and went, with stars that wrote strange warnings in skies. The eyes of many kingdoms closed. The palace was defiled by princes with strange colored eyes. Brother, I awaited the end of all the world. Arcanum 7, the return. Now as I wear around my neck a necklace of 1,000,000 suns, you come, undead, unborn, thou ghost of the morning. I notice that you wear our father's ring, but I must say no more. For the bed of ebony and straw lies like a fallen song upon the floor where we last left it, broken with love and bare. The world will loathe our love of salt and fire, and none will let you call me or my sister here. See how my body bears the mouth marks made in times long past, star wounds in night unhealed. Since then it was a cave by jackals sealed. But now my legs are once more cages for a great far-flying bird, my breasts small pyramids of love, my mouth is empty of the dark wine of my waiting. Oh, tell me of the things you saw, as if they matter, and call me a sister, and bless this bed of ebony and straw. Arcanum 8. Story. Sister, from the gates and fields of night I come, Lord, by your voice, as it spoke my name over water and fire, and the voice of him who told me that his sun would burn forever. I'll tell you why I went each morning to the river and sailed towards that old man on the throne. His seed struggled in my reluctant thighs. The ring on his hand was stone. His eyes were the mirrors of the world. He was the very Lord of gold. So I went each morning to the king, my father, but all is told. I cannot tell another thing about how his blood was the birth of my soul, and how with my own hands I killed the king. The king. Now when the sun is born each day at dawn, I will lie along your body as a boat along a river, and place my soul, a blazing ornament, upon your breasts, and burn with my bones my name all down. Sister, by dark love bound and blind, I touch you now in this forbidden time, and my white robes of death unwind. Arcanum 9. The Ring. I do not adorn you with any more names, for the living ghost of the king our father hovers forever above our secret bed, like the royal hawk with wings outspread, on whose head the awful sun burns out the many generations of our dreams. And we are the end of his ancient line, your seed a river of arrested time, whose currents bring the cursed crown forever back to the foot of this bed, this double crown of those who wear the kingdoms of heaven and hell on their head. The royal bird is blind in morning, and its glamorous wings will shade us to the end of time. But oh, my brother, will you wear forever that stolen ring which wounds your hand by night? Why, in your dreams, do you go to the king? The king. Apollo 12. Once his eye raised the cool towers of space over the roofs of his youth, and he lay, growing in the red shifting days, beneath orbiting castles and giants and star beasts. Now he descends the steep mountain of the night to the breathless valley of the moon. Earthlight floods the lunar pools and craters, accommodate the visitation of his step, his alien weight. Earthrise is an eye beyond the blinding brim, past sighing miles of silence. The finite children watch him become the satellite of his own dream and orbit the white world of his youth for them. Computers map the territories of nether suns, where galaxies are graphic castles giants own. But now up the weightless slopes of time he climbs, through vacuous doorways, to the gasping dark.